Well, we've had really good work this week. Been really pleased with the players. Some question may be about why we work indoors. Well, we're going to play indoors. It really wasn't that hot this week, but it's the same surface. I think it gives us an opportunity to do a little bit better job of recovering, getting used to the surface, not getting drained by the heat as much. It's kind of the same thing we tried to do last year a couple days before the game, and we'll continue to do that tomorrow. Today we actually had more like a Thursday practice, and tomorrow we'll probably just take some other situations and try to cover as many situations as we can. Our Friday schedule won't be any different than what it always is in terms of our travel routine. From an injury standpoint, Corey Reamer was back today. I know you're probably interested in Brandon being out there, but it's amazing to me that from a medical standpoint, the extent of his injury is not that significant, and that he has a great attitude about trying to come out and do stuff and being with the team, and we're going to take his situation day to day, and each day he'll probably do a little bit more, and at some point in time he wants to play, but we're not going to put any player at risk relative to their future or the situation that they're in, and he will have to definitely, just improve on a daily basis, and when we feel like he is ready to play, we'll probably allow him to play. And I don't know when that is right now because we're sort of going day to day. I'm sure you're going to ask me about players' availability for the game. Guys, I don't really know anything about this. If I knew something, I would tell you. I don't. And I'm not going to answer hypothetical questions about it. What if? So, I have enough real questions to get answered relative to this team and playing games that I would rather focus on those and not, well, what if this happens and what if that happens and what are you going to do if this happens and what's going to happen if that happens. I just can't deal with that. So, I'm pleased with the progress that we're making. This is a challenging game for us. I think everybody's excited about playing. We're certainly excited about it. It's a great opportunity for our team, and we'll, playing a very good program like Virginia Tech, very well-coached team, will be very challenging for our players and tell us a lot about where we are.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about Brad Smelly. Your staff decided midway through last season to go ahead and get him on the field. How much does that half season of game experience help him going into this year?
Well, I think that he did a nice job for us last year. He got to play a significant amount of time. We were able to utilize him sort of as a H-back receiver type. I think he's gotten bigger and stronger. I think he's a better all-around player now, but I do think that experience probably helped his development. And he still is a good receiver, but I think he's a little better blocker, and we're hopeful that his role will even expand, as we go throughout this season.
Coach, do you know where Terrence Cody's weight stands, and will he be available for third down?
He's not been playing on rabbits right now. If he's one of our four best rushers, we'll certainly put him in there. He's never made the rabbit weight that we had prescribed, and I think we've made some improvement as a rushing team. I think the most important thing, especially in this game, is you have to be able to rush, you have to be able to push the pocket, and you have to be able to finish on a very athletic quarterback, which is going to be one of the most challenging things for our defense. And so guys that are athletic and can run and can finish are going to be important to try to get in the game. Because this quarterback can scramble and make plays as well as anybody. And I'm talking about make plays throwing it on a scramble. That's you in a hurry today? Oh. Well, you can go. I'll stay. Visit with all my friends.
Coach, is there
do you have a decision as far as who would be the quarterback to go in if something happened to Greg on Saturday?
Well, we listed him on the depth chart. I don't think there's any reason to think that we didn't, list him on a depth chart like we'd play him.
There was an or, though.
What's that?
There was an or there.
Well, I think Starr has done a good job, and I think, if we had an opportunity to play him, if it presents itself, I think we would play him and see how he does. He doesn't have a lot of experience, neither does Thomas Dara. I'm not going to get into comparing guys, but Starr's made a lot of improvement, a lot of progress, and, we just need to see where he's at.
And also, I know one of your main themes with the team since you've been here has been external factors and being able to stay focused on what's going on. Are you pretty confident that your team is where it needs to be, given what happened with Brandon and some of the other stuff going on?
I really think the focus has been good. I think if there's anything I'm worried about, it's first game jitters. I think you have two types of players. You have an experienced player who's really anxious to play, and sometimes that affects their anxiety, affects their focus, ability, mental errors. Then we have some younger guys who have an opportunity to play that don't have that much experience, who really probably don't even know they don't know what they're getting into. So, you've got all kinds. And but I'm not concerned about anything else in terms of how our players have focused and what they've done. I don't hear them talking about it. I think they're thinking about the right things. So, we're but one of the most difficult things is good is a great enemy of being great. Because when you get good, you get complacent and you get comfortable, and in competitive sports, that's not a good place to be. I don't see that in our guys, and I hope I don't see it. Their intensity has been a lot better this week, and we've been pleased with it.
I know this isn't taking it one game at a time, but the 2010 schedule was announced today. You play Penn State next year. That's not a new news, but can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, we've continued to try to work the schedule to where we have one out-of-conference game for sure that is something that would be of national interest. And Penn State the next 2 years, home and home, sort of does that for us. I know we have Georgia Tech and Michigan State down the road, and we have 1 year that we have to try to figure out. I think it's 2012. So philosophically, that's what we're trying to do with the schedule. And we have some very other challenging out-of-conference opponents. Duke is going to have a good program under David Cutcliffe. He's a very well-respected coach, in my opinion, should be, and will do a good job there. And they made improvement last year as a team, and I'm sure we'll continue to recruit better and improve. And San Jose. So, Florida comes back on the schedule. So I haven't thought a lot about it. I've actually had to look at it before I came in here, wondering if anybody had asked me about it. So, but philosophically, we are getting done what we want to get done in terms of playing a national exposure game early in the season.